Yeah, I'll get you.
All right, everybody, we are live. Hello, I am BMillzebub, and welcome to my channel. Well, it's actually not going to be my channel for too terribly long. Whoops.
Extra sound.
Breaker one, breaker.
It's
over.
It's never a big live stream unless someone forgets to turn the volume off on the live stream on YouTube.
Yeah, you can blame me for that one. I always do that.
Diana. But okay. Like I was saying, it's not going to be my channel for too terribly long because as soon as I'm done introducing everybody, I am going to turn it over to my panel of brilliant and passionate women to talk about, I don't know, International Women's Day, women's issues, you know, whatever it is they conjure up to talk about. So let's introduce the panel. First up, we have the Lavender Lady. Lavender Lady, you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your channel?
Hi there. I am Diana Clarion, the Lavender Lady, and to steal a line from Not Draw Witness, I do Lavender Lady things. Some live streams, the occasional standalone video, and I make appearances here, there, and everywhere. And I'm just trying to do good things, trying to be a force for education and learning around here. And we'll just leave it at that for now. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Yay.
And up next, we have hashtag Heathen. Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear you.
Casey, are you broken?
Uh-oh. I think she might have some technical difficulties.
Yeah, let's do it with semaphore.
I think maybe we need to go to the roof and adjust the antenna.
Or we could put, aluminum on the rabbit ears.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do that way. Maybe that'll work.
Old school.
That's the Wayback Machine.
Uh-oh. Gia thinks I'm super loud.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay.
Sorry, I got new headphones and I think they kind of screwed up everything.
That's all right.
All of us are having headphone problems. I don't know, man.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm hashtag Heathen. I have a channel here on YouTube, and that's about it.
Oh,
That's all right, Faye.
Well, I didn't know when. I didn't know when. I agreed to come, and I didn't know when. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's probably my
Bubba
fault.
didn't post it loud enough. No, he did not do that.
I'm blaming YouTube for at least half of this.
yes.
There you go.
Stupid YouTube.
They're so silly.
So up next is Jen with one N.
Oh, hi. I'm Jen. I have one N. And I do videos on my YouTube channel alphabetically. I'm picking a topic, a myth, a legend, something religious, and I'm explaining it or debunking it or whatever. And I'm also doing a new theme on my channel, which is like a speck of discovery, which is just like a little funny thing that I do. So that's about it.
Oh, yay.
All right. And Mrs. Snarky.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Mrs. Snarky, also known as Jen with two N's.
Yep.
I do snarky stuff on my channel. Mostly been talking about philosophy lately, sometimes debunks, but it's not really my thing anymore. But I'm also co-host to the Godless Iowan a lot of times, and you see me here and there in different chats.
All right. Up next is Scientist Mel.
Hi. So I do sciencey things on my channel. My channel is Scientist Mel. I write stuff on my website, scientistmel.com. I have a couple of shows. I have a show on Saturday mornings. It's Saturday Science. So we don't have, Saturday morning cartoons anymore. So come in science with me. We talk about whatever the viewers want to talk about. And then I put together a little thing. They vote and they're like, here's a thing I want to learn about. I'm like, fantastic. Here's stuff about it. And then we interact that way. And I have a show every week called This Week in BS. And last Thursday, I had Dr. Stephen Hobbs on, and we talked about the bad science associated with PETA or whatever they call themselves. They're horrible.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. And so we talked about statistics. And next week, we're talking about people who drink bleach to get rid of autism. So, and they make their kids do that.
Effective.
It's terrible. And then next Friday, a week from tonight, we will have Spirited Sciences back, where we talk about Michio Kaku. And there will be a cocktail associated with him. So I'm currently doing my mixology, trying to get that together. So check it out. We're pretty fun on my channel sometimes, and you might learn something. So
sounds awesome. And finally, Wonder Lady, let's hear a little bit about your channel.
I cover many random topics, and basically, I guess, I ask a lot of questions, or I grill the crap out of somebody and see what they're gonna say. It's not really a channel where people come to debate. It's just to exchange ideas, and that's about it.
All right. Well, if everyone in the audience were to take a look in the description of the video right now, you will find relevant links to every single one of them. And definitely be sure to check them out. Follow them on Twitter, Patreon, here on YouTube, everywhere else it is that is listed. So with that, I am going to shut off my camera, shut off my mic, sit down, and listen to what they all have to say. So, ladies, the show is yours.
Wow, we're gonna have free reign. This is where we start with the pillow fights, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yay! I have my slippers. I could have my slippers. They're rubber ducky. They're not rubber duckies, but they're furry duckies. So I can hit y'all with this. You're like,
so wait, now it's a sleepover?
I guess it's a sleepover.
Hey, cool.
Pillow fight and all that.
We could have a pillow fight. Yeah, we could have a sleepover.
Truth or dare, y'all.
Okay, I haven't played that one in a while.
Are we going to play that for real?
We don't have to. It was mainly a joke. But I mean, if that's what y'all want to do, like, I don't know.
Date, marry, kill.
Oh, never have I ever. It's funner. You ever play Never Have I Ever?
See, we're gonna learn a lot about each other tonight.
The last time I heard somebody say that, it turned into an orgy.
Wow, that's the first Never Have I Ever.
Right? Yeah. Never have I ever been to an orgy.
Never have I ever.
Wow. Nobody's following that.
I mean, like,
Oh my goodness.
Well, what's some like womany things we've been up to?
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Oh God.
what is womany really?
Really, anything you do as a woman. That would be my guess.
I had a burrito.
I changed my oil for my car.
I fixed a toilet once.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. Fixing toilets is fun. I
had to fix an.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I had to fix an overflowing toilet at 1 a.m. the other night.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
All over the bathroom. My son comes running. Mom! I'm like, oh.
I fixed my dishwasher. It was leaking.
His fault.
Oh, I also made a bacon wrapped asparagus.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
good.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh man, I'll be
very
right over.
I
Bacon
know, right?
wrapped asparagus.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think
it was the applewood bacon too.
Oh,
Mm.
see, you know what would be really good if you took asparagus and got like a bratwurst, like an apple smoked bratwurst, and wrapped it in the bacon,
Oh, yum.
and then
Oh, please! Can we have a piece
drizzle
of
some
apple
cheese.
with the bratwurst?
Yes. See, and you can grill that.
Yes.
Yes.
See?
Grill it.
I'm
We
all
just-
behind that.
yeah.
Or put on a skewer.
Yep.
Yeah,
that'd be
that
very-
works too.
And then with the toothpick, you can like wrap the skewer with bacon, then barbecue it.
Apple, pear, maybe pineapple. Put it together, wrapped up in bacon next to the bratwurst that has been wrapped up in asparagus and bacon. Drizzle all that with cheese. That's a party.
Oh, if you've got
Oh, yeah.
asparagus, you don't need cheese.
That's
But
blasphemy.
cheese, though. Cheese.
Cheese, Faye. Cheese.
It's
What the hell?
cheese,
Yeah,
though.
we need Shannon in here if we're going to talk about cheese.
Cheese.
Oh
Oh,
my
Lord.
God.
That's right.
Cheese.
And not that powder crap either.
Oh, no.
No.
No, we don't do that.
Real cheese, y'all.
You know,
Real.
if you want it creamy, you melt it and you add some actual cream to it, and you'll just kind of get it all mixed.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my gosh.
Yes.
when you put bacon next to asparagus and you cook that together, it ends up creamy.
True.
Like cheese would be overkill.
No such
But
thing, Faye.
cheese.
That's, yeah.
I
But
don't
cheese.
understand. I don't understand.
I'm in Wisconsin. We put cheese on literally everything.
Put
So-
cheese on your cheese.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Do you put cheese on cereal?
No.
Oh, see, well.
Like cold cereal?
Hey, Ma-
You said put cheese on everything. I was trying to be silly.
Oh, got you. I was like, no, I've never tried that. Is that good?
I can't
Technically, if you
stuff.
think about it, you could do that with cottage cheese.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe.
That
cottage
I've
cheese
done.
and oatmeal or something.
Yeah.
Really? I've not had cottage cheese and oatmeal. I don't know about that.
I like
Cottage
it.
cheese and oatmeal. I like the two of them individually. I don't know if I could have them together.
Yeah, I don't
And
know
this
either.
is from a woman who eats peanut butter and garlic sandwiches.
What?
They got me on that one.
Peanut butter and garlic?
Yeah.
She does. Yeah.
Yes, I love. You make a peanut butter sandwich the way you usually do, and you know that
Mhm.
chopped garlic that you get in the jars in the grocery store?
Yeah.
It's backed in oil.
Mm-hmm.
Take a little of that out and spread that over the peanut butter. Slam another slice of bread on there, and you've got yourself lunch.
Wow, really?
I've never tried that.
That's
It's
a
like
lot of garlic.
It's like a Thai taste if you've ever gone to a
Yeah,
Thai
yeah.
restaurant.
Oh, okay, like the
Oh,
peanuts.
yeah,
All right, I get it.
I can
Yeah,
see that.
it's the same type of flavor except for
That
it's
would-
on bread.
And then
Probably
the
be
one thing
too
you,
spicy for me.
the one thing you don't want to do is use fresh garlic because that's way too strong.
Mm. I mean,
Uh,
kind of been set around for a little bit.
Yeah, that stuff that's been packed in oil where the aromatics get to leach into the oil and everything, and it's not as strong as something right out of the ground. Now,
Stuff that I
somebody like me, say again?
Oh, I was just gonna say the stuff that I buy because I'm too lazy to chop garlic.
Yep.
Yeah, that stuff.
Yeah, that's the.
I get the kind of the big old screw top thing, but I don't think it's in oil. I just think it's in just, regular water.
No, that's it, I think.
Yeah,
It doesn't have oil in it though. It's not oil consistency. It's in some kind of preservative water, maybe salt water and a
Yeah.
little bit of
Brine.
citric acid. And I just, yeah.
So not to
So-
distract from the food topic though, like what do you consider to be a woman's issue or a woman's topic?
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. So,
Just take one. Just
okay.
one at a time.
One at a time. We could
I forgot equality, maybe.
yeah. Pay gap,
Oh, yeah.
rape culture.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah, rape culture, and also rape culture.
Oh,
Yep,
my
that
goodness.
too. That too.
And reproductive rights.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yes.
But
Reproductive rights.
there are some who say rape culture doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, just like
Yeah.
hate speech doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes me kind of nuts. And then it's just, oh God, I can't get people to understand that what women go through online is
Yes.
extremely traumatic to a degree, and there's no precedent in the law outside of the FBI and like other countries that revenge porn was a thing for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But for a while it was kind of legal, and then they had to decide, oh yeah, this isn't right. And so
No.
then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you can't do that because that's bad. But that's hacking into people's clouds, like the celebrities who had their private cloud hacked into and had their photos leaked. It's just
awful.
I mean, the constant sexualization of women as being a commodity, as something to be entitled to, is a problem that's often perpetuated within our society, and it hasn't really gone away.
No, it hasn't. And a lot of people will deny that. They'll say, oh, we don't see you as an object, but they really don't listen to what we're saying.
No.
Like, we're steamrolled
Mm-hmm.
often.
Do you know when they listen? When you say things like, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about laying kittenish on the top of your car.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not trying to upstage anybody, but I'll tell you, the way to really get a guy, or the way a guy can really understand what women go through, is for that guy to transition male to female.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a hell of a lot. I learned what privilege I had and never knew I had when I was trying to do the boy thing.
Yeah.
It's to say that it's a whole nother world here in Ladyland is an understatement, definitely.
It really is. And there's been different people that have written articles about what it's like to go from being transgender, going from woman to male, and what a different world that is for them. They're like, when I was a woman, people behave this way, and they look, they do look and present very specifically. They look very male. And so people never knew that they're trans.
Yeah.
And so when they're in this male world, they're treated so differently than when they were presenting, as a woman.
Yeah.
They're like, you have no idea. It's like night and day. And there are a lot of people who have told their stories about that. So yeah, I imagine going from presenting as a man to presenting as a woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that probably was quite a interesting experience for you.
For example, back when I was trying to do the boy thing, some guy offered me a ride. It would be like, hey, I have a free ride. These days, some guy offers me a ride, and I'm thinking, okay, what else does he want?
You think twice, yeah. Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, simple things like that. You listen very carefully behind you. You watch the shadows to see what's moving and who's trailing you. You're always on alert.
You lace your keys in between your fingers so you have the claws.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Or you get on your phone and pretend to talk to somebody while you're pumping gas in an area of town where you see a group of a bunch of men around a car, and you're like, well, if I'm on my phone, maybe they think that I'll holler for help.
Yeah.
Just kind of stuff like that. It's weird. I was out a few years ago. I was downtown walking around with a family member. At the time, was about 13 years old. We were going. She was 13. We were going to a Harry Connick Jr. concert.
Cool.
It was a great concert. We were walking back to go get a soda somewhere, and as we were going back to the car, this guy started yelling out all of these sexual things that he wanted to do to me. There was a security officer. There were people just walking down the street. They completely ignored him. But when I turned around, I had just had it. I was so sick of hearing this crap. I turned around. I yelled so many profanities at him. I said, F you. I don't want your nasty ass. I'm like, you smell horrible. Does your mama know you're outside this liquor store? Does she go to church right down the street? What's wrong with you? Why would I want you? You're disgusting. I just went down and you know, I said lots of other horrible things. But what I found that was quite striking was that nobody batted an eye when he's telling me all these sexual things he wants to do to me. People stopped and looked when I said something.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how that works.
A woman is saying naughty words? No.
Oh my
Weird.
A woman is angry. A woman is displeased with something. A woman is displeased with a man.
Oh, she's overreacting. Look at her.
I'm so emotional.
So hysterical.
It was only being friendly.
Hysterical.
I was with a 13-year-old girl, and they felt like that was completely appropriate to holler out at me. And I'm like, what in the world? And so I just found that it was very, very striking to me that people didn't stop and turn until I said something. And all of a sudden it's a scene now. It's now a scene. But he got mad. So he went from all the things that he wanted to do to me to, well, you're just I'm a bitch, I'm a whore, I'm all kinds of horrible things. And I was like, whatever. And I just kept flipping him off. But there was like an armed security guy who was just like right there. Didn't even bat an eye until I started saying something. He just looked up from his phone and looked right back down. I'm like, thank you.
Right? Yeah, thanks for the help.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's overlooked. Nobody stands up. Well, not nobody, but the majority of people just will ignore it and not even try to get involved.
It's normalized.
Yeah,
they're just used to hearing that.
One thing I did want to point out was when we were talking about the different experience between male and female, like there have been a lot of experiments by journalists and bloggers and stuff online where they would present a female sounding name versus a male sounding name and the difference between how people responded to them saying the same things.
Yes.
Yep. And it was totally different. And I've had that experience too. I used to like get online with male sounding names because I was tired of getting harassed.
Yeah.
This is a common thing. And a lot of people will push back at me when I speak out about it and say, well, you know, it's just online. These people aren't actually going to hurt you.
Oh.
Oh, but it can bleed into the real world.
It can, and
people
it
get
does.
doxxed all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been doxxed.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like how many people with my name live in this tiny state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember when I had my first apartment and I was living with a friend of mine and, you know, 2 females. And one night around 1 o'clock in the morning, someone was like on our front door, and it was a woman, and she's going, help me, help me! But we couldn't open the door.
Oh, shit.
Because we were 2 females. So we called the police because in the area, it was known that there was a couple going around. She would pretend to be attacked, and he would get through the door, and he would attack you.
Oh, my God.
Holy shit.
So we couldn't open the door. We wanted to help her. We wanted to do something, but we were terrified. And we called the police, and when there was no anyone dragging her off, but they suddenly disappeared, and it was like, what happened? And to this day, I still don't know.
That's horrible.
But, like, I think a man would have opened the door. And I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was on social media, and I saw this on Twitter. There was like a thread, and it was actually kind of striking. Somebody had asked the question, what if there was a curfew for men? What would you do as a woman? And people were like, I would go for a walk at night, like at midnight. I would go jogging. I would enjoy the evening, you know, be able to take a nighttime jog. I would go to a bar. I would do all of these other things. And it's just like basic things. I would go grocery shopping. I wouldn't be afraid to go grocery shopping and get it done because I work during these times, and that would make sense for me because of my work. It's just, I would get gas late at night instead of early at 5 in the morning when I'm on my way to work, you know?
Right.
it just,
I wouldn't wait until my lunch break to wash my car.
yes. I mean, I would do so many things and I would get so much done. It's amazing. So,
I would go to the sex toy store.
oh my goodness. Can you imagine going to a store like that at night? Like past.
Oh, no.
Hey.
I actually went into one of those adult entertainment stores in our local city after a concert in college. I was in the orchestra, you know, and I was playing bass clarinet that semester. Long story short, my fellow bass clarinetist was Mark, and he was a gay guy, and his boyfriend and I gave a ride home to, and they're like, oh, let's go to this toy store on the way because it's right around the corner from our house. So I walk in concert dress with a guy in a tux and a guy in a suit next to me.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds wonderful.
Not a bad night there.
Yeah.
One of my girls, one of my friends at my college, she was very naive. I mean, so naive. Like, was she ever a teenager before she came to college? You know what I mean? And she was making a comment, and one of my friends said, "Just get a toy." Oh, well, how? What? You know, it was one of those things because we always talked about sex, especially around her, because we felt like she needed to learn something. So she's like, I don't understand. It was like, well, there's one a few doors down. Let's go. And the other girls are like, what? I'm like, come on, there's 6 of us. What is anyone going to do? Come on. So we went, and you should have seen her face as soon as we walked. It was like I must have pushed a dragonfly down her throat. She could not talk.
Goodness. You know, Sharper Image hides things that they call personal massagers. They're actually not personal massagers, like Lilo brand stuff.
They're personal, but that's about as far as it goes.
Very personal.
And they show like a picture of a lady putting it on her back. I'm like, that's so cute.
Yeah.
It's like, here she is using this massager. It's working out her back muscles. I'm like, yeah, that's what she's just stretching for later, you know.
Yeah,
she's just stretching them.
Technically, it does relieve tension. You're right, Faye.
Oh my goodness!
You know, in some states, it's illegal to sell them if they're flesh colored.
What? Really?
Yeah, like Texas. Yeah, you can't sell.
Oh yeah, wasn't that what's his name? What is his name? It's not Rubio.
I would understand more if you couldn't use it if it had googly eyes.
Googly-eyed for her pleasure. Yeah, like the studded ones. They do have the studded ones.
But as long as it doesn't have eyes, because you don't really want it looking back at you.
Well, I mean,
I don't think so. I wouldn't, anyways.
Trent Reznor, though, with "I Want to See You from the Inside," that puts it to a whole new perspective.
That is true.
See, this is the thing, though. Like, I want my eyes to roll back, not the dildo's eyes.
Yeah.
Well, but at least the dildo's having fun as well.
True. I'll give you that.
Mutual pleasure, I suppose, in that case.
Well, since we're already anthropomorphizing the dildo, we might as well give it the pleasure.
And name him. What do we name the googly-eyed dildo?
Gooey.
Oh, isn't that kind of like moist, though? Gooey, moist. You know, Mr. Moist or Ms. Moist, if that's your jam.
Misty
Moist.
I don't know here.
Misty Moist.
The token dyke on the panel is starting to feel left out.
Oh my goodness! Oh, this went south fast.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do when you turn over the reins to a bunch of us. I mean, it's going to happen.
We did start with a slipper and pillow fight, so if you missed that, I'm sorry.
Did you guys ever go to one of those home parties for like the toy parties?
Oh yeah,
No.
your
Like a Tupperware
romance.
party?
Yeah,
I never went to one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my friend Shannon, not Shannon Q, but my real life friend Shannon had one, and there was a contest where we all had to fill our hands with lube, and then open a condom, and then put it on a banana. But we
Oh
were
jeez.
completely lubed up, like lube was dripping off of our hands, right? So we had to open the condom, and I haven't opened a condom in 25 years, okay? Because
Lubed
my
hands,
kids
use your
are
teeth.
20 and 22.
You know,
What?
use your teeth,
Yeah,
man.
well,
You
I
know?
opened it and I got it on, but it wasn't edible lube. It was like bleh, cheap lube, and so I got it on and I won this contest.
What
And
did
everybody's
you
looking at
win?
me like,
What did you win?
damn.
Oh goodness.
I think I won some lube actually.
Figures.
Yeah.
You know, lube can be a wonderful thing. So,
And Bub, here's one for the highlight reel. Just cut that out and put that up on your channel.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, lube can be a wonderful thing.
okay, Godless Siren GI says they say not to use your teeth because you run the risk of damaging the condom. True, but if your hands are covered in lube and you're in a contest to put a condom on a banana, then
You're
I don't
all right.
think damaging the condom would be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if everybody's hands are all lubed up, then it makes safe sex extremely difficult.
Yeah,
'cause,
I gave
you
up on condoms back in '96 when I got pregnant with one. So
Oh, you got pregnant with a condom?
I did, and I got pregnant on the pill, and I got pregnant with a Depo shot.
Well, you're just super fertile.
Wow.
You're the
Oh my
lucky one. I
God.
don't know.
Yeah, and then I got my
God.
tubes tied because I am not having any more ginormous babies. Let me tell you.
Oh
Aw.
my gosh.
I feel you there.
Wow.
Both of mine were huge.
You know,
Oh.
there's an interesting thing you mentioned about getting your tubes tied. It's a real pain in the arse that a woman cannot get her tubes tied without a whole bunch of grilling
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah.
About if you haven't had
Yeah.
any kids, they're going to look at you and say, "No, we're not going to do this because you might change your mind."
Yeah.
Or
Right.
I don't know. Is there anybody
I
who's
had to be 24.
okay?
Huh.
I was just 24, and the law for something about it in New York was you had to be at least 24, and you had to have at least one kid before they would tie your tubes. And my doctor, my OBGYN at the time, was like, the only option you're going to have is to tie your tubes because you keep getting pregnant on all of the options here. They don't work for you.
Mhm.
So I did, and I just had to sign the paper. But luckily for me, I didn't have to get my husband's permission. I didn't have to, you know.
God. I
you
know.
know.
And you go back to an earlier part of the discussion, the thing difference between the guys and the girls. I got my tubes tied when I was still trying to do the boy thing. I got a vasectomy. All I had to do was walk in and say, "Hi, I want my tubes cut." And that was it. No questions asked.
Right.
See.
Right. You like a man would not have to go get his wife's permission,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you know, but a
I knew a
wife
guy who couldn't
would
get one
have
though
to
because
get.
I knew a guy who couldn't get one even though he asked for it because he was only 23 and he was in Texas and they refused to
Oh
do
my
it.
goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
different
man.
states have different laws about that.
So, speaking of body autonomy for women, did you see that Tennessee just passed House Bill 77, which is the heartbeat bill,
Yeah.
where the
Oh,
current
no.
governor is going to sign it into law? And so, essentially, if they can detect a fetal heartbeat, which can happen as soon as 6 weeks, then that means you cannot get an abortion.
Yep. Which most people don't even know they're pregnant at that point.
Right.
Well, not most,
usually-
but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know because, you know, some people's cycles are different. It's every 4 weeks. Sometimes it's every 6 weeks. So if you've managed to get pregnant during a period of time and 6 weeks hits and you've been pregnant during that time and you had no idea because your period's not starting, you're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. Then you're not allowed to get an abortion according to this new bill. And the current Tennessee governor says he will sign it into law. So I'm curious of how this is going to go with the Supreme Court, because it would be considered unconstitutional. So I'm kind of curious now.
I'm guessing that there are a lot of people looking forward to the bill going through the court system, and especially getting to the Supreme Court, because for years and years and years, the opposition has been trying to load the courts, and they're getting there now. I mean, especially with Kavanaugh having been confirmed to the Supreme Court with his views.
Oh my God, I know.
This could be some serious trouble.
Yeah.
I'm worried about my kids.
What gets me are the women who don't care. I have a cousin I was talking to about a similar bill that was going through the Ohio legislature. And her words to me were, well, I'm past that age. I don't care.
Oh my God.
Like, Kathy,
It's called empathy.
does the world end at the tip of your own nose?
For a lot of people, it does. It seems. It really seems. That's
I've gotten that response from people. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like I worry about my kids and my grandkids, potential grandkids. What kind of world are we going to leave for them? We're talking about lifetime appointments at the Supreme Court.
See, there should be terms for that. If we're going to have terms for senators, we need to have terms for justices.
I think so too.
Because, our society can fluctuate and change a lot faster than lifetimes. So,
yeah.
And it makes me absolutely bonkers that Kavanaugh was even put into office.
I know. And I also think that with senators, I think they should have term limits as well. Not everybody agrees with me on that, but I mean, crap. How many times do we have to freaking put Steve King in there, really?
And you look at McConnell and you're just like, dude.
Yeah.
You're like the old turtle from the Never-Ending Story.
He really is.
And you just sneeze on everything every once in a while. And you're like, I'm sorry, I sneezed on everything, but I'm right. Why should I care about any of this? Nothing. I'll be dead in 5 years because I'm 90,000 years old. So it's like, you're like, oh my God, man, the nothing's coming. He's like, yeah, I don't care. So you're like, okay. We're all just hanging on while you're blowing your snot on us or whatever.
Pretty much.
Horrible.
Just another button. I need to lose 50. I really do.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
Oh, it's just everything is, I try not to be in a constant state of rage and anger when I'm reading anything on any given day.
It's hard though.
How do you do it?
No,
seriously,
I can't.
And it's caught, and there's a lot of people that have had a lot of division in their family because they're finding out that they have supporters of bigoted and extremely racist and sexist views, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're like supposed to be my family, and
and friends too. Friends are in support of bigoted, misogynist, racist assholes. It's like, oh my God, really?
There are family members. I feel like the limit that is, it's just, I will see them at Christmas time. I used to see them at Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm like, no, I'll visit you for an hour at Christmas time, then I'm going home. So I'm like, I'm not. It's like my grandparents. I know they came from a different time. My grandmother's never had a job in her life. My grandfather served in Vietnam. He was too young to get involved in the Korean War. But they were from a completely different time, and I get that. But my grandma, I'm the first in my family to be as educated as I am on both sides, because we were all pretty freaking poor. And so it's like my brother and my sister has 2 degrees. My brother has 1. all of us, the three of us on both sides of our family are the only college educated people in Dove. Okay. And so I'm sitting there, and my grandmother, when she found out, when I told her I was getting published for my breast cancer test I helped engineer, she goes, "How are you so smart?" It was like, and she just looked at me. I don't understand. How are you so smart? And I'm just like, because I read. You know,
It helps.
I went to school. I didn't have the dream of just staying at home and pretending to be June Cleaver when that's not the reality at all whatsoever. And my mother, she was like, well, she gets it from me. You know, my mother is very proud of her children, but it's like my grandmother, she saw being a woman as a disability. And she still sees that to this day. I have a cousin who is like upper management at a Home Depot, and they will drive to Atlanta to see him. I couldn't get them to come to my last 2 graduations, and they live in town. So I'm like, okay, by all means. And they're like, you know, we're so old and we don't want to have to take the stairs. I'm like, but drive several hours to Atlanta to see my male cousin, because we all know he's the Christ child in your eyes. They actually gave him power of attorney over their own children. They have daughters, but they let him have power of attorney over their will for when they die. He was abusive to me, so I know I'm not going to get anything out of that once they go. I'm like, okay. So it's weird having grown up in a sexist construct within my own family, and to find out that they were Trump supporters. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm done. Okay. I don't go over there for Thanksgiving. I don't go over there for Easter. They don't call me. They don't say, hey, how are you doing today? They don't text me. They don't do anything. I'm like, I don't either. So it's just like, remove toxicity. Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you. You're not dead yet. All right. Neither am I. You don't really ask me how I am. What job? Where do you work now? They don't even know where I work now. So it's like, okay. And they live like 15 minutes from me. So, but hey, that's what they do. I'm not a boy, so I don't have as much value, which is horrible. But that's like the reality of the majority.
I was going to say that's nothing new.
Yeah. So
my father wanted a boy so badly. He had 4 daughters, and my mother was pregnant 9 times because they kept trying. They kept trying for a boy and trying for a boy, and my mom would have a baby girl, then have a miscarriage, have a baby girl, have a miscarriage, have a miscarriage, have a baby girl, and all of the live births that she successfully had were all of us, the 4 daughters, and then she had a stillborn after me, which was another girl. So my father wanted boys so badly that he would take out the neighborhood boys, like we had across the street and behind us of my age. He would take them fishing on his boat, but I was not allowed to go because I was a girl.
Wow. That's
yeah.
That's so sad.
He was such a misogynist. He died when I was 11, but you know, my early years, he would take Bobby and Jeremy and Michael from across the street out on the boat with their parents' permission, but I couldn't go because I was a girl. And he would never buy me Matchbox. And I wanted Matchbox so bad because all my neighborhood kids were boys, and I wanted to play with them.
Right.
But no, I had to have a Barbie.
And then the funny thing is, it's too bad you couldn't have let him know at the time. It was all his fault that he didn't have any sons when you really think about it.
Right.
Who contributes to that chromosome? Can we have that again?
Exactly.
What I don't get is that he's willing to borrow, you know.
He literally borrowed
them.
Boys.
Yeah. Why couldn't they have adopted then?
Yeah.
At least just one boy and not have to put your mother through all that heartache.
Well, that's different.
That probably would have admitted defeat for him. you know, because he was so proud about anything. It would have admitted defeat. And like my mother, never, like my father never let my mother control her reproduction. He said, no, you can't go on the pill, because the pill only came around after my mom already had 2 daughters. So in the 60s, and like she had my 3 older sisters in the 60s, and I was in the 70s. And so when the pill came out, my father said, no, you can't do that. He was one of them, if it happens, it happens type of people. And 9 pregnancies happened. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. I just, you know, and you don't know when you're growing up what sexism is until you get older, and then you realize, you know,
you look back
2020, and you're like, wow, I've had all of these things impressed upon me, and it really does do damage. I had an English teacher tell me that I was too stupid to be a nurse. I'm probably
What? Oh my God.
Oh,
she said,
no.
She asked me, I think I was 12 years old. And this English teacher, who's a woman, I told her, I'm like, well, I'm thinking about maybe being a doctor or something like that. I really like science. And she looked at me, she said, you're too stupid to be a nurse. You know, you're really dumb. And here I am 4 degrees later, published scientist, going,
right?
I really would like to see her. But at the same time, she's probably a sad woman holed up in the same job forever. I mean, and I'm not knocking teachers, but what you say matters, and what you impress upon kids matters, and it sticks with them. I had parents and family and stuff. They're like, here, have a Barbie doll. I'm like, I don't know how to play with these. I did not know how to play with a Barbie doll. I'm like, do I put them? I said, well, I like TV. Let me just set them in front of the TV and we'll watch movies. We'll pretend we're at the drive-in, because I like that place. And then, you know, I'm like, well, how do they interact with each other? So my mom used to watch soap operas. I'm like, well, I'll just pretend they're in that show that mom watches. And so they're kissing each other and slapping each other, just like, how dare you? And so I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, they're getting in a fight like on your shows. Like, I didn't know. To this day, I don't know how to play with Barbies. I wanted chemistry sets. I wanted microscopes. I'm like, I'm going to look at stuff. Wow, this is small. Look at this all close up and stuff. So it took forever to get my family to get me the things that I really, really liked. And it was like way down the line. They're like, are you sure you want this rock tumbler? I'm like, yes. Go find rocks, throw it in this thing, and they get shiny. God. Why not? This sounds so cool. And they're like, here you go. Here's an astronaut Barbie. That's kind of science. I'm like, she's on the moon now. Now she's back. Now she's
slapping someone.
Now she's, and I had them in the bed and everything. And my mom was having a heart attack with them. They're sleeping together like they do in your shows. And she's just like, what?
No, I had everything from a microscope to a rock tumbler, but I also had all the Barbies and etc. I had, like, I remember getting books on ants and volcanoes, and right next to like lip gloss. You know, it's just.
Wow.
I got a big plastic hamburger shaped lip gloss container. And I'm like, hamburgers aren't girly. My mother's like, everything's girly.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I was like, what? She's like, everything's girly. If you want it to be girly, it's girly.
That's awesome. I never understood the fake play makeup.
I know.
I don't get that. Or the pretend nail polish that you could peel off. Did y'all ever have that? Somebody got me.
Yeah, I had that.
I'm like,
I think that stuff was made for little girls like me who wanted to wear makeup.
Yeah, and it peels off because you know how 4 or 5-year-old girls are. They get that shit everywhere.
Right.
I could do that with Elmer's glue. I like squirting the Elmer's glue on my fingers and making imprints of like your fingerprints, and then you could peel that off.
Yeah.
That was cool. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And the fake tape nails. But that's the kid I was. I'm like, what? You put this pink stuff on here and you peel it off. Man, where's the tape nails? We could put that and put glue on top, cover it with glitter, and look like witches.
Nice.
I used to play in the dirt, and I would also, like, I was kind of really tomboyish. I love sports, especially like kickball and baseball and stuff like that. So one thing that I really like to do is make like 3D stuff with paper. Like I would cut it, tape it, and I'd make little trucks and houses and stuff.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
It was a lot.
We were always encouraged to make things out of paper.
I liked making mud pies. I did dig around and a lot.
Yes. That was the best.
Mud pies were great. And I really liked pretending I was at a fancy French spa and just cover myself in mud. I'm like, it's a body, it's like a mud mask. And my mom would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're just, it's healthy. Just like on the shows, it's a mud mask. And she's like, okay, go to the hose.
I'm pampering myself.
We didn't have mud. I didn't grow up in an area with mud, so.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
You just ground and add a water hose to it, and it's a party.
No, if we wanted to do something like that, we walked down to the Bay Beach and built things out of sand. But we didn't have mud.
Huh.
I'd come home with like a jar full of like hermit crabs and.
Man, you missed out.
Yeah.
But hermit crabs sound kind of fun, but I really did like rolling in the mud like a pig, but I suppose that's just what you did in the South.
Well, you could catch the really small baby blue claws, and like they'd be a quarter size big, and you pick them up, you line them up with your friends and see which one's the fastest, and then you return them to the water.
Yeah. Mark Caesar in the chat was talking about getting germs from the dirt is great for your immune system. Yeah, I believe it's gram-positive bacteria, which can kind of mimic the baddies, which actually does boost your immune system. So, especially farm kids, they tend to be pretty healthy for the most part because of their exposure to all of those different types of bacteria in the dirt.
We didn't have that.
Go play in the mud. Go find somewhere. You have homework, Wonder Lady.
Oh.
Find some mud and dig in it. Just dig a hole and jump in. Be young Wonder Lady.
I only got to one mud fight, and that was when I was 16. It's at my aunt's house. My cousin and I got into a mud fight, came home. They made a strip in the backyard and hosed us down before they'd let us in the house. That water was really cold.
Yeah. I bet. Oh my goodness. Oh god.
That was my only mud fight.
Huh. Okay, so weird thing, just entirely random, and this is extremely strange, and it's somewhat on topic, but not really. So Elvis really liked to have mud fights in his living room, and the women had to wear white cotton panties.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I know
How
that.
wholesome.
Wow.
I know this because a friend of mine used to be one of the tour guides at Graceland, and so she was just like an endless bunch
Elvis
of
trivia person.
No, Elvis trivia. Yeah, Elvis liked to watch girls mud fight in his living room. They always had to wear white panties, white cotton panties. That was his thing. So I'm like, well, thank you. Very strange mental image in my head now, but okay.
Right?
Oh, Elvis. Man, that dude. Gosh. I know.
He was slightly weird.
He, but he grew up in like almost a hovel. I mean, it was a teeny tiny little place in Tupelo. It was like one room. There was a kitchen and they had an outhouse. And so I kind of, if I grew up like that and I had a lot of money, man, I'd probably go nuts too. I've actually been to Graceland, and his dining room is purple and gold. It looks like a nightclub kind of with gold columns, and you're like, what the heck is this? And then you got the pool room like over there, and then it looks like the dogs playing poker type of setup. It looks like somebody went there and put dogs at a table and painted the dogs playing poker. I mean, that's exactly the decor.
Oh dear.
Then he has a room that's kind of downstairs and it's sunken, has a bar and a wall of TVs, and mostly the decor is bright yellow. And he has a lightning bolt on the wall that says TCB called Taking Care of Business. And you're like, okay. And then his kitchen looks like a Southern kitchen because he was all about Southern food and he wanted one that looks like his grandma's kitchen, kind of, but rich people style. So it's all Southern kitchen. And then he has a hallway with stairs that's nothing but mirrors because that makes sense when you're on a lot of drugs. You on a bender one night, let me go upstairs to my bedroom where there's the hall of mirrors all the way up. It's weird. But, you know, it looks like a dude who got a lot of money all of a sudden. And he does have a jungle room with green shag carpet and a fountain in there. And it looks like a jungle. It looks like somebody said, I want a room that looks like a jungle. And they said, okay. So, and to his credit, you know, he absolutely built his house the way he wanted it. And it looks like something from Gone with the Wind on the outside. Traditional, you know, Southern plantation style, but on the inside, it's just a wild ride, man. It's like somebody's like, I want a Persian purple gold looking dining room, and then I want this dogs playing poker pool room, and then I want a wall of TVs sunken in that's yellow, and then I want a jungle room and a hall of mirrors, and you're just like, okay. So, you know, maybe I would blow money, and I would, you're going to build a house, man, build it the way you want.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, not
for me.
Yeah, I would have some fun. If I had the money, I would have definitely first thing I get is a huge freaking jacuzzi.
Oh yeah.
Like straight up. That would be totally need that.
I want a pit in the floor filled with water so I can tread water every day.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's all I want. I want to be able to exercise like that. Even if it's just sort of like a torpedo tube type thing.
Man, it's just, yeah.
I guess I'm boring. I just want library stacks.
You want to be
no, that would be good too.
I like a good library, man.
I want the smallest house possible, just as long as it's set up like nicely.
I can't imagine living in a large house. I would be scared all the time.
You have to fucking clean that shit. Like, that's what drives me crazy. Like, there's so many people I know, some of my friends and blah, 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 and they're all like, I want a large house. You do realize you have to clean that crap.
Yeah. Well,
and I mean, like, it's easy. It's like, no, you're going to fill it with stuff, and then you have to clean everything you fill it with.
True.
But if you got a big house like that, you probably have people that you can hire to clean for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's where people like me come in, but still, it's like, someone's got to clean all that crap.
Yeah. I want a Rosie the Robot.
Mr. J.
I do. I really do.
I went to clean the kitchen and I put in the dishes. What you want me to do now, Mr. J?
Yes. I need some of that in my life. I really do.
I'll be happy with a Roomba.
I like Stephanie Frost's idea. She says, I would just want a huge fireplace and a really nice kitchen. That's I wouldn't mind that. A really nice fireplace and a girlfriend to enjoy it with, you know?
Yeah.
I want a Roomba.
Oh yeah, those are fun too. We have a knockoff version of one. It works really well.
I really, really, really want one. Actually, I want like 3 of them.
This almost sounds like we should start singing that song from Little Shop of Horrors.
Which one?
Somewhere the green.
Ah.
He rakes and mows the grass. He loves to mow and weed. I cook like Ben Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed. There's plastic on the furniture to keep it nice and clean. But that would not be my house. Oh, sorry, I kicked the thing again.
But that would be mine.
Damn, man, I am all for your dream. I hope you get that house.
Mine, I would just get large enough for a shitload of animals and horses. So, you know.
Fill it with bunnies.
See, my ideal thing would actually be to like just build a few small, like a bathroom and a bedroom, and then do the rest of the house as a huge greenhouse.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Oh wow, yeah.
Just walking around cooking. I don't care who sees.
You're that
bathroom
lady
privacy, bedroom privacy, and the rest of it, I don't care.
You're that lady from Harry Potter, the one that has, the plants teacher that pulls out the mandrake root and it's screaming and stuff. I totally
Professor Sprout.
Yes, you're Professor Sprout. You'd have like a whole greenhouse and just a little kitchen, you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go pull out the mandrake root. It's screaming at me, but that's okay. Yep. I see you that way. That'd be cool.
I wouldn't mind having a household full of plants.
That'd be nice.
And a barn on the outside filled with my goats and my chickens.
Man,
A couple of ducks.
I wouldn't mind a house filled with plants, but there's somebody here who would take issue with that. If I'm not really careful with the house plants, she'll eat them right down to the soil. And it's like, oh, come on, not another one. I love orchids, but no, they'd never be safe around Sylvia.
Man.
Try cactuses.
And I have to wonder if anybody's tried this or not. I have to wonder if it would be possible to spray Bitrex on house plants, because I think cats can taste that.
Yeah.
And maybe the bitterness would deter the little one.
For some cats, it works. Other cats, they have deterrent sprays that are actually capsaicin. So a lot of cats hate that, but there are some cats that love it. So they'll just start licking it off of everything. So
and with my luck, you would be one of the latter.
Right.
Man. See, I've tried to grow cilantro and it said, nope, I am not growing for you. I give it love and care and water it. I can't grow things. I can grow weeds. Really.
Did you offer it a bit of blood?
I didn't.
Did you sing to it? Did you sing that song, Grow For Me?
I didn't. I didn't sing any kind of song.
You should have.
That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened. Maybe I should give it a candlelit dinner too. And it's supper time, and get my finger and feed me Seymour.
Yep.
Exactly.
Feed me all night long.
You do it.
Feed me Seymour.
Steve Martin as the dentist is both hilarious and incredibly real.
And very satisfying.
It's satisfying and scary in equal measure because you're like, this happens. And it's just wow.
The best bit is Bill Murray in the dentist chair.
Oh, as the sadist.
I'm gonna get a candy bar. I'm gonna get a candy bar.
Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. And he calls him the weirdo. It's like the weirdos here.
I tried growing stuff here in my yard. I don't know if it's the fact that we have a giant black walnut tree, because things don't grow near black walnut trees.
Okay.
Or the fact that I am literally 10 blocks from Love Canal.
It might be Love Canal.
It might be Love Canal.
Yeah. We tried growing flowers like along the walkways to my house. They died. We tried putting just like easy stuff, tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, pumpkins. They all died. I can't grow anything.
You know what you should try? Sunflowers.
Yeah.
Because they actually improve the soil.
There you go.
And they're pretty.
So somebody had mentioned asking for thoughts on Google's wage gap.
What do you mean?
So
I don't know enough about it.
I don't know a whole lot about it. I can look it up a little bit and see what I can find. I know the wage gap is a big freaking issue.
Well, about the wage gap in general, the main argument that I've heard in terms of, because there is a gap, but the main argument I've heard against the wage gap is that they don't take into consideration other variables like what positions women actually like, or
that's what I've heard too.
Qualifications and just all kinds of different things. But but I'm not sure. Like,
I don't know how much of that are valid concerns and how much of it are excuses.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because like it's really hard to find like objective data that takes those things into account, or I don't know. I haven't found it yet, and to be honest, I haven't really researched it enough to know.
I'm digging in it. So something came out March 7th of this year. New York Times.
Grab a cup of coffee.
Paywall. I used to subscribe to the New York Times, but it was like $14 a month, and oh God, this is just whatever. I used to, and the thing is I can find so much other stuff, and I just found myself being more annoyed by the New York Times than anything else. I'm getting, let's see, Google's attempt to close gender pay gap may benefit males. I'm getting all kinds of different things. It claims to have okay, so in 2008 it said it claimed to have closed its gender gap.
But it's not true, because a day ago they came out with a whole thing about how the gender gap is still there.
So Fortune, let's see what year. Okay, so Fortune is saying March 4th at Google, a rarity, men were shorted by the pay gap. Okay. So
I do know I was talking because there was a post, I forget where, I think it was on Instagram, of this like supermodel, Victoria's Secret model, who could code in like 4 different languages. And a bunch of people were like, oh yeah, I bet she can. She can probably only type hello world. And she went on there and basically blasted them, listing all of her credentials and everything. So I did ask, that is one thing I asked my fiance about, because he works in tech. And I said, now, when you go to these big conventions, what is the ratio there? And he said it's probably about 10 to 1 male to female.
Wow.
He's like, I don't know if that means that, women lose interest or they're harassed or, what. He goes, but there's a large, large gap between male and females in the tech business.
Yes. Yeah. I've talked about this. All right. So there's a study that was done and you can go, I can put this in the side chat, I guess. You can check this out. This is just food for thought. This particular organization, they work to try to understand why, the numbers of women in the tech symbol. And I put that on, I'm just going to close out all these other windows because this is just crazy. All right. So it's called Why So Few? Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. So research was done in 2010 by, it's the AAUW. So it's essentially, it's American Academic University of Women, or forget what the acronym means 100%. I just call them the AAUW. And they did a report. So read our 2015 research report on these women in fields, in these particular fields. Women are getting computer science degrees, but they're leaving the workforce. So there's not a depletion of computer engineering degrees. There's women who are getting these degrees, but they are leaving the workforce. Once they get it, they'll enter the workforce and they leave. Yeah, that's my dog. And so, what they found was that a lot of these women were leaving because they were not getting the same compensation as men. It was hostile work environments. It was the way that they were treated. The stereotypes and bias are holding everyone back. There's lack of mentoring for women in these fields. So they kind of go through and they break down all of that. The job satisfaction of women engineers in the workplace. They observe more sexist behavior, experienced undermining behaviors by their supervisor, experienced undermining behaviors by their coworkers. The thing that I found inherently interesting about like the Google manifesto was that this man essentially said that women are just not wired to be in computer science, but we know women are primarily the reason why we have computer science. Frodo, shush. I'm sorry. So,
it's fine.
So we had women who were coding the computers of NASA. Women are responsible. I mean, Hidden Figures, we had a whole movie just about that. Ada Lovelace. We have women who have been involved in coding, but they're treated so incredibly poorly that they don't stay in the field. Why would they want to stay in a toxic work environment? And so this Google manifesto dude's like, well, their brains are wired differently, different structures. They just can't do what men can do. And it just made me nuts. Just made me nuts. So have a look at that and let me know what you think.
I've heard of that. Oh, and by the way, I have the Hidden Figures book on audio. It's definitely worth listening to. But like the harassment, not just from men but other women, is a factor.
Yes. Yep.
It's disgusting. There are women out there who do not want women in what they consider to be a gendered job.
Because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to get passed up. They've been fighting in the boys' club for so long. And they will play dirty to keep their position, because if another woman comes in, what if that woman does a bit better job than they will? They might be given that person job. So it's job security.
I would prefer a little competition over kiss chase around a desk.
Yes. Yes, or but it's interesting, when you mentioned Hidden Figures, one thing that Mary Jackson did, especially in NASA, was start mentoring women and bringing them into NASA.
It's true.
We don't have a lot of that in the computer science. There's a lack of women that are in mentoring positions that are like, hey, I understand the struggles you've been through. This is how we're going to work through this, and be there to help people transition into a workforce that's primarily men. You just don't have that. But that's one way that we can combat sexism in the workplace, is to have more mentors and women in power positions. But they've got to be in an environment where that isn't threatened all the time, So just my thoughts. So,
I don't think that I really. One thing that bothers me about gender bias is that I think, 98% of it is just bullshit. The only time that I think it is a factor is when you have to factor in how women or diabetic women present with a heart attack compared to a male or diabetic male.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I could give a rat's ass.
I'm trying to find.
I can't think of a job that a man can do that a woman can't do.
Yeah. maybe pee on the wall, but then we can
Hey, devices. We have devices.
Yeah, we have devices now for that.
We have the technology.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We can write our names in the snow as well.
Right?
Probably in
Oh
cursive.
my goodness.
Much nicer cursive too.
I'm trying to find the study that I saw where they took resumes that were comparable both with male and female names, what would be considered traditional, male and female names based on, society, gender standards, whatever. And so they sent these out to various employers, equally comparable. Sometimes they even switch the names around, same types of resumes. All of the male resumes were rated higher for qualifications than the female resumes, which I found to be pretty interesting. They were all the same type of education, same type of work. So, I mean, the bias is there, even with hiring.
Of course.
I'm trying to find where that study is. I can't find it right off. How to take gender bias out of your job. I mean, but it's a thing, and science is actively working to kind of zero in on where we see these sorts of things.
So there was a question brought up in the chat. Well, not a question. It's more of a comment by Maddie. He said, I bet you that every woman on this panel has had to leave a job or was dismissed because of some kind of sexual...
More than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I filed a harassment claim on my boss, who thought it was funny to make jokes about drugging his wife in order to get her to marry him. He was joking. But the other guy, there were two other men in there. One man was visibly uncomfortable with the conversation. The other guy was talking about my boss's wife and how hot she was. It didn't look like she spit out 3 babies. And I'm like, this is my lab. And I'm standing there. I'm like, oh my God.
Spit out.
Yeah, she doesn't look like she spit out 3 babies. You got a hot wife. And I'm standing there going, oh my God. Okay. I'm very, very uncomfortable. And so I'm finishing up my job and I'm like, okay. They're like working on the centrifuge, and my boss is saying like, yeah, I know I'm a lucky guy. I like to joke and say I just drugged her. I was drugging her, and then we got married, and then she just wake up one day, go, wow, we're married. I'm like, okay, yeah. On that note, bye. Have a great weekend. I'm leaving now.
Wow.
And then he was like, oh, we're just kidding. I said, I understand, but I don't think jokes on violence against women are very funny. So I'm just gonna leave it alone, and I'm just gonna go. You'll have a great night. He then proceeded to text me that evening. I'm sorry, we were just joking. I said, okay, I don't think this is funny in light of all of the things that are going on. And at the time there was women actively being, it was in the news. A lot of guy was stabbing this girl because she said no to him and stuff. I'm like, it's just not funny for me. He then went on for like 3 more days wanting to talk about how he's like, do you know how uncomfortable you've made me now?
You made him uncomfortable?
Yeah. He's like,
you made him. He's sitting there joking about like basically date raping a woman into marriage.
Yes. And I'm
but
like,
yet,
okay. He goes, do you know how hard it is for me to talk to you now? I'm like, I wasn't making jokes. I said, I wear headphones to the grocery store because I don't want strange men to talk to me. I can't walk down the street to get coffee without somebody hollering at me. I don't want to hear this at my job. That's all. Please stop. And he wouldn't stop. He kept wanting to talk to me about it. I'm like, look, and so I just emailed HR. I'm like, he will not stop. Here's all the text messages. He keeps wanting to talk about this, and I don't want to talk about it. I mean, I've been assaulted. I'm like, I don't want to go to work and have to appease a guy's ego because he made horrible jokes and now he feels bad and he doesn't feel like he can talk to me or joke with me. I'm like, just do your job. And so I ended up having to leave because he was finding things that he felt was wrong with my job and trying to write me up
give
on
me
it.
a break.
So I'm like, I'm done. And so the moment I just picked up the first job I could find to get out of that situation because it was becoming increasingly toxic. And so I'm like, and it was a legitimate harassment claim because he would not stop about it. And I had the text messages. I'm like, he will not stop talking to me about it. I've got to do my job.
Well, when you think about it, he was uncomfortable for doing something that made you uncomfortable? Can't he just make the mirror comparison that maybe when at work you should keep the conversation professional and not like put anyone in any position?
Right. I told him, I'm like, you know, you can joke about that. Just don't do it around me and don't do it in my lab. I don't want to hear this in my lab. And I told him, I said, just don't do that around me. You know, if you want to make jokes like that, go somewhere else. And he thought, oh, well, you know, now I feel bad all the time and I feel awful. You've made me feel so bad. I'm like, you know, it's not funny. So, but it's like, I really, really, really don't think this is appropriate. It's not cool at all that this guy is perving after your wife and openly talking about that and talking about her body to you. And then you're just jumping right in, continuing the conversation, saying that you know, I like to joke saying I drugged her, you know, and married her while she is still drugged and woke up one day. Oh, wow, we're married now. Ha ha, surprise. And I'm like, this really is not funny. So it's just, oh my God. So I'm like, and then he made it about him, about how uncomfortable I've made him. And I'm like, I'm so done with you. I'm so done with you. Just
I had a boss try to fill me up. So when I got home that night, I called him up and I was like, I hate to say this, but I'm not coming in anymore. And he was just like, oh, why? Well, it's because tonight, oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, it'll never happen again. I said, well, I died in a car accident on the way home, so you're never going to hear from me again. And he was just like, what? And I hung up. I was like, as far as you're concerned, like, I'm dead and you never, like, I didn't even collect my last paycheck. I was just like, I'm just never going near you again.
What was even worse is after that, you know, because he started finding things wrong. Suddenly things were where he was finding suddenly things were wrong with my work. So he then there became these mandatory weekly meetings that I had to have with him. And I asked for somebody else to be in the room with me. HR said, no, you guys are going to have these meetings by yourself. Even though he had a valid harassment claim that HR said, yes, he's harassing you, and it's in his file now. They told me I had to have these private meetings with him.
No, that's bullshit.
No, that is complete ass gravy.
Oh my God, what the hell?
Yes, and so the very first meeting we had, I gave him like my notice. I said, bye. And after I sat there, I had it in my lab where other people were in earshot. I'm like, I'm completely fine having it in here. And then he told me, well, these are the things I want you to do and work on. I said, great. I guess I should tell you something. Here, read this. And I gave him my notice. I'm like, bye. I'm going somewhere else. Where are you going? I don't really want to tell you. So I'm like, oh my God. So yeah. Yep. So I'm like, not today, Satan. He still doesn't know where I work now, which is great. So it's just, having to go through all that. And then they finally start finding things wrong with my work suddenly out of the blue.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Like,
that's what always happens.
So you've got harassment and then you've got retaliation. Terrific. I love it.
Oh, my exit interview was fantastic. It was with the vice president of HR from the home office. And I emailed in detail everything to the CEO, along with the notes from our meetings that we had, in addition to the harassment file. I said, and he goes, wow. I said, yeah, if you want me to actually fix your problems here's my resume and my credentials. Let me know if you want me to come back. I'll be happy to help you fix your company. But until then, bye. Oh my gosh, no. Woo. Yeah. It was awful.
No, Jen, Snarky, what were you saying?
Oh, I was saying that I was a contract worker for a LiDAR mapping company. It was a really good job. I was making good money. I was studying geography at the time. When I first started, I was a geography major, but I found out that wasn't for me, especially after working in geography and having this happen. So I was working there, and there was this guy that grabbed my ass like in front of everyone.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know what to do, but everybody saw it. Like I didn't want to report it. I totally didn't want to report it because I was afraid I'd lose my job. Well, I went ahead and reported it anyway because I got pressure from some of the coworkers, and I reported it, and I came in the next day. They didn't even like do a report or anything. They just said, okay, you know. And I came in the next day and they're like, your work has been shitty, so you gotta go.
Wow.
The next day.
That's definitely not retaliation.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, I'm thinking that's actually a pretty decent spot to end it. We are planning on doing an after party.
okay.
I'm thinking about half an hour from now to give you all a chance to, I don't know, get a snack or something to drink because you've been.
I just made tea.
So, Faye's all set then, but yeah. So real quick before I end this, I would like all of you to one more time plug your own channels and social media. So let's go right to left this time and start with Wonder Lady.
I'm Faye. I've got a channel called Wonder Lady, and I talk about feminism and social justice, and I ask a lot of questions and try to keep things non-dumpster fire-ish. I don't have all the answers, and I'm not there to correct anyone, but yeah, that.
All right.
That's all.
Fuck ayahuasca.
What?
It's that guy again.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that keeps going after Snarky.
Both of them.
Jesus.
Wow.
Wait, I haven't looked at the chat. What the hell's going on?
It's that cafe guy.
Same shit, different day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
All right. Scientist Mel.
All right. So I said at the beginning, so if you just joined us at the end, I do have a YouTube channel. I also stream to Periscope, Facebook, and Twitch. I also have a website, scientistmel.com. I write things. I talk about different things. I primarily focus on all the science-y type of things every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. I have the Science of Thursday nights. I have This Week in BS, Bad Science, where I bust apart all the bad science that's going on in the world. From time to time, I have a show called Spirited Science, where we talk about a particular scientist and we make a cocktail out for him. So a week from tonight, it's Michio Kaku. So I have RJ, I have Atheist Edge, me and Stephen Ballman are going to talk about the physicsy things while having a nice, tasty beverage. So check me out. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. BMillzebub stuff. He's really great. And so, yeah, and you can find me on Twitter if you want to talk me there. I'm there sometimes. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Snarky?
I'm Mrs. Snarky, the internet's punching bag.
Want to talk about your channel a bit?
And I do philosophy. Yay!
Yay!
All right. Jen with one N.
Oh, hi. I'm Jen with one N. I wear Crocs a lot on Twitter because I do wear Crocs a lot. I have a YouTube channel where I'm going alphabetically, picking one topic at a time per letter, and I'm either debunking it, talking about it, explaining it, a myth, a legend, a religious idea, something. And I also have my little Speck of Discovery side videos that are usually a little bit of funny. So that's about it for me. Come by and watch. It's fun.
All right. Heathen, what you got?
Who, me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, you cut out like right when you said that, so I didn't know if you were talking to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm under #Heathen here on YouTube. It's at Casey Ann with an E on Twitter. And those are the main 2 areas that I hang out. So yeah, give me a watch if you want.
All right. And last but not least, the Lavender Lady.
Yay! Last but not least, I am Diana Clarion, the Lavender Lady. My main claim to fame is Coffee with Lavender, Sundays at noon Eastern. A little interview show that I've got going. And this coming Sunday, there will be the one, the only, the brilliant, and the beautiful Sci Strike of the Science Strike Force, who has just been down to Kennedy Space Center to view the launch of the Crew Dragon and an open house down there. We'll be talking about that and a few other things that he's up to and that he's doing. So come one, come all. Come on by, and we'll all have a really good time. Yay.
All right. All right, everybody. That is going to do it for this one. But
oh, no.
In half an hour, we'll be starting the after party. And since we do have a couple spots open, I will be taking a couple more panelists. Should anyone want to jump in, just DM me on Twitter. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And I will send you a Hangout link. So until then.
Please forgive my bursting into laughter, but Wonder Lady just put in the side chat, misogyny in the butt with Chuck Tingle. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Chuck Tingle.
That's where misogyny should fucking be.
Oh my goodness.
Ayahuasca in the butt?
Ooh.
Boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
I think I burst a blood vessel on that one.
Oh.
All right, everybody. Before you click off of this video, go down into the description box below. Check out each one of these ladies. They all make really good content, and subscribe to them on YouTube and all their social media. I ran out of breath there at the end.
Okay.
We're taking away his breath, ladies.
Well, I mean, there's so many of you. But yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to me, I guess.
Oh, by all means.
Subscribe to BMillzebub.
But all right, everybody, we will see you again in half an hour. So until then, take it easy.
It's all right.
Bye.